Hello, Star Citizens, and welcome to another episode of Use Case. So, I did some interesting things with my money. Well, I guess it's my credits, but still, it's money that was spent anyway. So, yeah, I got a Redeemer. Did not get a Prowler. My head was telling me to get the Redeemer. My heart was telling me to get the Prowler. I don't need either one of them. So what I did was I also got a Vulture. And so the Vulture is one of those ships that I don't have. I have a Reclaimer, so I don't need a Vulture. So I have the Vulture just kind of sitting there. I want to see what this new ship is going to be as far as like Saber. I most likely won't need it because I have a Saber Firebird, but there's a chance that I might like it more than I like the Firebird and might swap it out. But I don't, then that means I would have to melt the Firebird. So yeah, it's not going to be that much of a difference either way, but we'll see which Firebird I like, well, which Saber I like more. But yeah, so what I did was I took the Redeemer, and it's going to be one of my ships that I own until the Starliner comes out. So it has until the Starliner comes out to prove itself to me. The Starliner doesn't seem like it's coming anytime soon. So that should be at least 6-7 months before we even see or hear anything about that. So it's got 6 or 7 months to prove to me that it can stay in my fleet. Otherwise, I'll just upgrade it to my my Starliner. Well, either way, that one will get upgraded to my Starliner, and then I'll just use a CCU and keep a Redeemer. But I'm pretty sure I don't need it. I have an A2 now. Mind you, an A2 can't do everything that a Redeemer can do, but it pretty much does what I needed to as far as that role. And even if it didn't, I have so many other ships. I have a Connie that can do more damage downrange just from the pilot. Like, yeah, so I don't really need the Redeemer, and I keep saying it because I just want people to get that through. All right, anyway, that's the decision I made, so I just wanted to put that out for you guys. All right, now let's get to the use case for an Idris. Now, it was interesting. When I was thinking about making this video, I was like, is there a non-use case for the Idris, right? So the Idris is one of the largest ships in the game. I think it's the 3rd largest. Oh, I don't know. Ships are growing left and right now. So it's in the top 10, let's say. But I would say it's probably closer to top 7 or top 5, probably something like that. But it's one of the largest ships in the game. It carries like close to 1,000 SCU of cargo. It has massive amounts of guns on it. It's got that huge size 10 weapon on the front that can pretty much one-shot anything that's not an Idris. I think it takes 7 shots from that to kill an Idris, which to me, well, considering how easily it hits, I guess it's okay. I mean, I think when we were in an Idris, I think it took like, I want to say it took like 7 shots, but we were like 50% accurate, a little bit more than that. We were like 60% accurate with it. So yeah, it depends on how many times you hit it direct on, whether the other guns are actually shooting at it. So yeah, that's really what it's about. But outside of like the niche things that you specifically need a specific type of ship to do, like salvage and mining, stuff like that, you could pretty much do anything in this ship. That's part of why I gave it such a high rating when I reviewed it. However, I'll say since entering it, since walking inside of it, and obviously this was only during only during the Xenothreat missions, it's kind of lost a little bit of its luster for me, because the interior is a little boring. Even with the Xenothreat threat stuff in there was a little boring. And I think that kind of threw me off because I'm like, if I'm gonna be running a small org through this ship, I don't really want my ship to be this boring on the inside. And it wouldn't matter if it wasn't such a massive ship that everywhere I go kind of seemed the same. Like internally, it seemed boring. The exterior, great. The guns, excellent. Love that it can basically shoot down anything. Those huge guns firing, it's a masterpiece almost as far as what it can do in a fight and how tough it is. This thing is extremely tough. But it didn't really leave me wanting more. Like, I didn't think, when I walked through it, I wasn't like, oh my God, I need this immediately. I was like, I can earn this in game. Like, I totally can earn this in game. And that's not to say that the Idris is bad so much as it's like, it's a lot of ship, and it's very difficult to make that type of ship interesting in every part of it without like taking 25 years to build it. So I guess, you know, I don't know. I think we were in the M variant. I think that's the one in Xenothreat. So I'm pretty sure that's the best variant. That I think that most people agree that's the best variant. That's part of why CIG won't sell it unless it's in a extremely large pack. So what it's I mean, what can you do? You can do a lot of things in the Idris, right? You can, well, let's flop over to here, right? This is our steady screen, right? To get you to focus a little bit. But really the Idris is, I think another thing that surprised me first, 8 people can do pretty well in an Idris. I thought it would take at least 20 to do well. Now, obviously, once engineering comes online, that's going to be a different story, right? Because I think it was 3 people in the Star Citizen, no, it wasn't Star Citizen Live. It was CitizenCon demo when they debuted engineering, and they were saying like, oh, this is a mission where we were trying to defend it. 3 people could barely do an A2. Like 3 people could barely like take care of an A2. And if I'm not mistaken, an A2 is either a third of the size of this or half the size of this. It's somewhere in between there, right? So if that's the case, then what are you going to do, right? You're going to need at least 5 or 6 people to engineer this thing. So 8, and let's say 6 people just to be on the safe side for engineering, 8 people manning all the weapons and stuff. I think you still are missing 1 or 2 weapons even with that, but I don't think all the weapons need to be manned for you to be for this thing to be solid. So I'd say I drop it from 20 people down to probably 13 or 14 people. You have 13 or 14 people in an Idris, I think you're gonna do okay. I don't think you need, I think the 28 is like if you have every station filled, but I mean, we were in it, I mean, I was in it for like 5 hours, but I think the guys were in it for like, I think they were in it, they held it overnight, and they held it for like 2 days, so that was crazy. So yeah, and they did it with less than 13 people, and obviously it's not done yet. There's more stuff to go with it. There has to be some balancing, of course, and you know, once a Polaris and once ships are in the game that are meant to destroy this thing, it'll be a little bit more difficult to keep it for that long. But yeah, I don't really have a preference between the 3 variants either. Like the M, yes, it has the cannon on it, but now that I don't think that that gun that it comes with is going to be so much better than the K, the gun that comes on the K. Like, I don't know, you know, which one will, I don't know if it'll be like how many more shots it will be, but I know that it's not going to be many more shots. Like, even if it doubles the amount of shots, it's like, you know how long an Idris battle is? Check my video out, I think it was the I don't know. We went against like 2 or 3 Idris in those videos. If you watch my Idris series, where it says like it's like the Xenothreat Idris series, there's 3 videos there. Just you don't have to watch the whole thing. It's like 3 hours of footage. But if you skim through that, you'll find that I was fighting, or we were fighting multiple. We fought multiple Idris, and we just went back, healed up, came back, fought another one. So I don't know. And we got hit with the blast a few times. I just didn't. If you're in an Idris fighting this, I don't see it as being that big of a deal. But if you're not in an Idris, it's also exactly as big of a deal as, it doesn't matter which one you get hit with, because you're gonna die. Like, so if you get hit with the beam on the P, and you're in something smaller than an Idris, you're gonna probably get one shot anyway, unless you're in something that's super tough. There are some ships that are like unique in how tough they are, and they're gonna be close to the Idris. Like, I don't think the Perseus would be one shot by an Idris, because I think that's gonna be one of the most defensive ships in the game. You know, I don't know if the Polaris would be one shot, because that's going to be, it's not just the armor on that one. That one's going to have like dual, I think, capital shields or something like that. So I don't know if it'll be one shot. There's a few ships that are like capital class, or just like their specific purpose is to be defensive, and those might not be one shot. But for the most part, everything's going to get one shot with the Idris. So I don't know how much that matters. The skin is pretty cool, so I do prefer the M skin. But yeah, I think if I'm an Idris owner and all I have is the P, I'm happy with the P. Like, I would not go out of my way to buy the M after being inside the M. I don't think I would go out of my way to purchase it. That being said, I still think the Idris is one of the best ships in the game, even with everything I'm saying. I still think it's one of the best ships in the game. I still think if you buy this ship, you pretty much don't need to buy anything else. You'll earn everything else in the game anyway if you have this ship. But it can do a lot, you know. It's obviously a military ship. Very heavy cargo runs without needing an escort. You can be an escort. You could be a whole fleet escort. You can transport like a few medium ships, small ship, tons of small ships. It's got a brig for the bounty hunters. You could just load this thing with Avenger Titans. And I mean, honestly, that's what I think it's for. I mean, maybe they'll build a ship with more, but I mean, I can imagine, you know, it's already a warship, right? So you already need a brig just for, like, you know, enemies of war that you capture, right? But I could see the major police organizations having one of these and just like storing prisoners on it for police transport. And I can see missions where you have to assault, you know, one of these in a Legionnaire and, you know, get on board and break your person out and get away from it without it blowing you up. You know, I can see that happening. So, I mean, part of the reason I think I was a little underwhelmed by the interior is because it's a Squadron 42 asset, so obviously they have to do it for level. There's level design choices that were made for it, and that's fine. I'm perfectly okay with that. I still stand by my decision not to get an Idris because I know so many people with an Idris, and so many more people are buying them. I mean, they've sold thousands and thousands and thousands of these things. I seriously doubt I won't be able to get on a crew to crew one of these, and I have no interest in running a ship this large, as far as military wise. I have large ships. I have my my Pioneer. I have multiple Endeavors, so like I'm gonna have enough ships to run and enough crew to run, so I'm not particularly worried about the Idris P. That being said, I think if you own one, you're gonna be happy. I don't think this kind of a weird use case video because there's so many uses for it. It'd be easier to say what you can't use it for, right? It doesn't have tractor beams, but it has an MPUV, so you can still tractor stuff onto it if you're thinking of cargo. It doesn't have it literally has a vehicle bay. It has cargo bay, ship bay. It's got a place where you can, it's got a hangar, like it's got a lot of stuff. It's really hard to talk about what it doesn't have. So I think if you bought an Idris and you're asking what the use case is, you probably shouldn't have bought an Idris because you probably don't know enough about the game to be spending $1,500, but it's your money. But primarily what I would use it for is a military ship. I think this is going to be good for lawful orgs. I mean, it's going to be good for anybody who has one, right? Because it's going to be difficult to take down. But I'm saying if my primary use case, right? Obviously there's other use cases, but my primary use case, I would use this to fight the Van duel. If I really wanted to be a part of that fight, I would use this to as like a mercenary ship, as you know, going and acting as fleet escort and helping people, you know, defend themselves as they transport themselves through space. I can see a lot of liberators and hull E's and you know, like major transport ships, ironclads, all these ships that can carry hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of SCU, needing some type of escort like this and being able to pay a pretty nice chunk of change for it, right? So like imagine somebody who has 98, I think it's like 96,000, it's like 90,000 SCU of cargo, fully laden, like a fully laden hull E, which probably is going to take them like a year just to earn enough money to fill that thing. But we're talking, they might be in the billions of dollars as far as how much money is on that ship. So I could imagine 3 or 4 Idris taking that ship, and then everybody's getting like a $5 million payday from it. Like every crew member is getting like a $5 million payday. So yeah, we're not talking about small chump change here. We're talking about big money escort money for taking an Idris somewhere. It costs $1 million to refuel and repair after a fight with another Idris. So as long as, I mean, you don't get attacked by anything, it's the size of an Idris or close to the size of it, your cost might be a little less. But if you're not making at least 3 or 4 million taking this thing out, then you're taking it out for the wrong reason, right? So like if you're gonna do cargo runs with it, you need to be taking the full, you know, 800 or 900 SCU of cargo, and it needs to be making some decent money every run, because I know you make some decent runs in a C2, which has about almost 700 SCU of cargo. That makes like 350, maybe 400K if you're lucky. So this has a few hundred K or a few hundred SCU more, so you're probably only making 100K more or so you're probably only making 500K per cargo run. Now obviously if you don't get attacked by anything crazy or anything like that, it could still be worth your while as long as you like drop something off, pick something up each time. You're probably making $1 million every time you stop somewhere. Well, $1 million every, you know, A to B. So as long as you do that, you might be okay. But again, you're gonna need to do something more than that to earn some extra money. So that's why I say military is the biggest thing, and fleet escort, and obviously some ship transport. Like if somebody needs, you know, their most important ship transported somewhere, put it in an Idris as long as it fits, right? It can fit up to medium ships. I think you can fit a Cutlass in there. So I don't know what other ships can fit in there, but yeah, I would also use this as a bounty hunting ship. That's my you know, if I would go military / escort ship, Then I would go bounty hunting second as the biggest thing I would do second, and then I would do, cargo and ship transport, right? And the reason I put bounty hunter second is because bounty hunting in a ship that has a brig is going to be awesome, especially because of what I said about the Avenger Titans. Imagine you have like 6 Avenger Titans in this thing, or not actually Avenger Titans, I misspoke, Avenger Stalkers, right? You have Avenger Stalkers that have 8 pods in them, where you can have this could be the base for the Avenger Stalkers, where they're all going out, and Anvil Hawks, right? Anything that has a prisoner pod, they're all going out, getting all these bounties and bringing them back, and they don't have to worry about unloading them or anything. The rest of the org that's on the Idris, they unload everybody, and that's what the Idris is doing. It's like always moving, and it's moving towards a base to drop off, and then when it goes out, it's going to another base to drop off, and that's all it's doing. It's just staying moving, going to drop people off, that have been brought to it by these Avenger Titans, and that it relieves the Avenger, like the Avenger pilot doesn't have to worry about that last stop, right? They just have to go out, get the bounties and bring them back, and then somebody else will actually take them to the final destination, and it'll be protected because they're all in an Idris, right? So I think it'll be pretty cool if you have one. Again, you really don't need a use case video so for this if you have one, most likely, but I think those are the best use cases for it. So that's it for this one. I will see you in the next one. Peace.